In the early 2010s, Disney set its sights on transforming the kids' gaming landscape, determined to leverage its vast library of beloved characters and stories in a way that no one had ever seen before. The result was Disney Infinity, a bold and ambitious project that combined collectible physical toys with a sprawling digital universe, allowing players to bring together icons from Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and eventually Star Wars, all in one game. It was supposed to be Skylanders for Disney fans on steroids, and the scale of what they were trying to do was impressive. With hundreds of millions of dollars of development cost, 3 game releases, over 100 physical figurines, and billions of dollars in profit, Disney Infinity was an unstoppable force in the toys-to-life genre. But then, out of nowhere, Disney pulled the plug on the entire project and shut down the company responsible for its development. How does something like this happen, and why did Disney Infinity have one of the biggest falls from grace in gaming history? This is the story of why Disney Infinity died. And it's a wild ride, so we need to jump right in and start from the very beginning. The history of Disney Infinity can be traced back to the early 1990s and the development of Mortal Kombat for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. John Blackburn, who would later become the founder and CEO of Avalanche Software, began his career as a junior programmer at Sculptured Software in 1992 after finishing his computer science degree at Weber State and briefly working in banking software. After their work on Mortal Kombat, Blackburn and his colleagues faced significant upheaval when Acclaim Entertainment acquired the company in October of 1995. This acquisition left Blackburn and several others without jobs, prompting them to consider their next steps. And in October of 1995, they founded Avalanche Software in Salt Lake City with Blackburn as president. When Midway learned that the team behind the recent Mortal Kombat SNES ports had formed Avalanche, they immediately offered the new studio a chance to work on the 16-bit versions of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. This opportunity established a strong working relationship with Midway, and Avalanche spent the next 5 years developing some of the best-selling games of the era for the company. When the vice president of production at Midway left to join THQ, he had nothing but good things to say about working with Avalanche, and he offered them the chance to work on a new project, this time with THQ. They were looking for a new partner to develop games based on Nickelodeon's Rugrats, a franchise that was hugely popular and highly lucrative at the time. This marked Avalanche's first foray into children's games and established a strong working relationship with Nickelodeon through THQ. And things continued going up from here with Tak and the Power of Juju, their first original intellectual property. The idea for Tak originated within Avalanche itself, as the team pitched the concept to Nickelodeon and THQ when asked to create a game that could also serve as the basis for a children's TV show. Avalanche's creative vision and technical expertise shaped the world, characters, and gameplay of Tak, resulting in a magical, humorous platformer that stood out in a crowded market. Released in 2003 for GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Game Boy Advance, Tak and the Power of Juju received mixed to average reviews from critics, but was a commercial success, selling over 1 million units and earning a nomination for Console Children's Game of the Year at the Interactive Achievement Awards. They released a sequel in 2004 and another in 2005, and Avalanche had officially become known in the industry as a company that could not only create existing games from pre-existing IP, but could also create valuable IP of their own. I mean, Tak and the Power of Juju would even end up becoming a Nickelodeon original animated TV show in 2007, so it was a massive success. So it comes as no surprise that everyone's favorite greasy little corporate mouse wanted in on the action. Disney was looking to expand its in-house game development capabilities after years of licensing its properties to outside publishers, and they needed someone to develop the video game adaptation for the newly released Chicken Little movie. So they gave the task to Avalanche. The project went well, and I played the hell out of the game as a kid, so therefore I've determined it's valid. And Disney enjoyed working with Avalanche so much that they decided to acquire the entire company in April of 2005. Avalanche, from this point on, would be focused solely on developing games for Disney's biggest upcoming animated films. And one of their first projects helped set the foundation for Disney Infinity, a massive video game adaptation of Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3 came out in 2010 and had 2 main modes, a linear story mode, which was based on the film, and another called Toy Box mode. The story mode was pretty mediocre and unremarkable for the most part, but beating it unlocked content in the vastly superior Toy Box mode. This was the highlight of the game and what really sets it apart. In this game mode, you could run around a customizable western town and map, wreaking havoc with a variety of gadgets, vehicles, and Toy Story characters at your disposal. There were quite a few open-ended missions and minigames to play around with, and even entire new maps to explore. Sometimes enemies would invade the town and you'd have to fight them off with the toys you unlocked, and there were random events and experiences that really made this game mode capture the feeling of a kid mixing together a bunch of random, goofy toys, something that the developers worked really hard to achieve. Toy Story 3 definitely wasn't an astronomical success, but it was received decently well with virtually unanimous praise around the Toy Box mode. The idea clearly had potential, and the studio had a taste of what a digital sandbox filled with toys could offer. What could they do to improve upon this formula to turn it into something even larger? The answer would come with 2011's Skylanders Spyro's Adventure, a game that fundamentally changed how kids interacted with video games and toys. Released by Activision and Toys for Bob, the initial Skylanders game blew people away. For the first time, players could buy physical figures, place them on a special portal of power, and watch as their characters appeared instantly in the game, complete with saved progress and upgrades. This seamless blend of physical and digital play was both magical and lucrative, with Skylanders quickly becoming a billion-dollar franchise and the hottest kids property of the early 2010s. Skylanders' runaway success did more than just fill store shelves with figures. It proved to the entire industry, and especially to Disney, that there was a massive market for toys-to-life experiences. According to Avalanche's John Blackburn, Disney had been hesitant to invest in a toy-based video game platform until Skylanders demonstrated the concept's viability. As he put it, Skylanders absolutely proved the viability of it for us. The ideas were essentially already there, but yeah, it definitely proved a point. With the toys-to-life genre now validated, Disney gave Avalanche the green light to take the toy box concept from Toy Story to the next level, resulting in the creation of Disney Infinity. This new and innovative toys-to-life game would merge physical collectible figures with a digital sandbox, allowing players to bring their favorite Disney and Pixar characters to life in a shared universe. And with the characters and IP that Disney had at their disposal, it was going to be amazing. Or at least, that was the idea, but we'll get back to that in a minute. For now, we need to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, War Thunder. War Thunder is a frequent sponsor of the channel, and a game that I constantly return to when I have that little itch in the back of my head and I don't know what else to play. It's the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, and it's available now for free on PC, consoles, and mobile devices. Basically, in this game, you fight in epic PvP battles while controlling over 2,500 tanks, planes, ships, and helicopters of 10 major real-life nations. Whether you want an armored car from the 1920s or a fighter jet from present day, you can choose from an insane mix of incredibly detailed vehicles and fight with a community of over 70 million other players. And it's not just normal pew-pew combat. Each of the vehicles are intricately modeled down to their individual components, and each of these components take damage on the battlefield, just like their real-world counterparts. The graphics and authentic immersive sound effects are beautiful too, which really cements the damage system in a way that makes War Thunder exciting and interesting in every single game. Play War Thunder for free today and help to keep these videos possible by visiting the links in the description. The game is available on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile, and by using my links, you can get a massive free bonus pack that includes premium vehicles, the Eagle of Valor Decorator, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of a premium account if you're a new or returning player that hasn't played in at least 6 months on PC and consoles. It's available for a limited time only. Now, it's time to talk about the launch of Disney Infinity. Disney Infinity was officially announced on January 15, 2013 as a cross-platform toys-to-life action-adventure game series with online capabilities. The announcement was made at a high-profile event at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood by Disney Interactive co-president John Pleasance and Disney and Pixar Chief Creative Officer John Lasseter, who unveiled what they called Disney's most ambitious video game initiative ever. The project was conceived as a direct response to the explosive success of Skylanders, with the goal of creating a platform that would unite Disney and Pixar's iconic characters in a single interactive universe, something that had never been done before. The scope and ambition of Disney Infinity were unprecedented for Disney Interactive. The development budget reportedly approached and likely exceeded $100 million, putting it on par with the production cost of a major Disney feature film. This massive investment covered not only the game itself, but also the production of dozens of high-quality collectible figures and the Infinity base hardware. The stakes were high. Disney Interactive had been struggling financially, posting a $58 million loss in the quarter leading up to Infinity's launch, and company leadership, including Disney CEO Bob Iger, made it clear that Infinity's success or failure would determine the future of Disney's in-house game development studios. As one former Disney Interactive employee put it, "It's a Hail Mary with a tremendous amount of pressure to be a hit." Disney Infinity was designed to be a constantly evolving platform, not just a single game. At launch, it supported multiple Disney and Pixar franchises, with plans to expand into Marvel and Star Wars in future iterations. The game featured a uniquely toy-inspired art style and allowed for both structured playset adventures and open-ended toy box creativity, giving players the unprecedented ability to mix and match characters, environments, and gadgets from across Disney's vast library. The launch lineup included 17 interactive character figures, 3 playset pieces, and 20 power discs, and the platform supported both local and online multiplayer with up to 4 players in Toy Box mode. Disney Infinity launched in the US on August 18, 2013 for Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Wii, Wii U, and Nintendo 3DS, with a PC version coming out later that year. The starter pack retailed for $74.99 and included the game disc, the Infinity base, which was the portal for figures and playsets, 3 figures including Mr. Incredible, Jack Sparrow, and Sully, and a few other things. Like all Toys to Life games, the only way to access content in Disney Infinity was by purchasing these figures and placing them on the Infinity base. The toys were well crafted, and in total there were over 29 different characters available in the 1.0 version, 17 of which were available right when the game launched. And this is where the first issue with Disney Infinity came to light. After shelling out over $75 to get the starter pack, you'd have to spend an additional $350 to acquire all of the remaining characters that launch with the game. But this wouldn't even guarantee that you got all of them, because for a while, certain characters were only available in expansion packs that were paired with other items, which were $35 each. And on top of that, collecting all of the power discs that provided extra in-game items could easily add another 100 or more if you were aiming for a complete set, since there were 20 power discs at launch and you had to unbox them all from blind gambling packs. All told, the total cost to collect every piece of content at launch could easily exceed $750, and that's assuming that you were lucky enough to avoid duplicates in the power disc gambling packs. The steep price tag was a major point of criticism for Disney Infinity, as it made accessing the full experience a significant investment for families and gamers alike. But oh boy, did it make Disney a lot of money. Disney Infinity 1.0 was a commercial success out of the gate, quickly validating Disney's $100 million gamble on the Toys to Life genre. In its first 2 weeks, the game sold 294,000 copies in the United States alone. By October of 2013, just 2 months after launch, Disney announced that worldwide sales had surpassed 1 million copies. This momentum continued, and by January of 2014, Disney reported that 3 million starter packs had been sold globally, a major achievement for a new franchise competing with the established Skylanders series. The financial impact was enormous. Disney Infinity and its associated toys generated over $500 million in revenue. But what made this first release so special anyways? Gameplay in Disney Infinity 1.0 was divided into 2 main experiences: playset mode and toy box mode. In playset mode, players entered story-driven worlds based on specific Disney and Pixar franchises, such as Pirates of the Caribbean, Monsters University, and The Incredibles. Each playset offered its own campaign, missions, and environments, but restricted players to using only characters from that particular universe. So you couldn't take Mr. Incredible into the Pirates world, for example. And while this sounds minor, it was actually a huge issue for Disney Infinity. See, Disney is famously protective of its intellectual property, even going as far as to deny a dad the ability to put Spider-Man on his 4-year-old son's grave in 2019. So it comes as no surprise that they insisted on keeping each character and their respective worlds strictly separated to preserve the unique identity and integrity of every franchise included in Infinity. But there was a solution. in the form of the Toy Box mode that very clearly took inspiration from the one in Avalanche's Toy Story 3. This open-ended sandbox mode allowed players to mix and match any characters, items, and set pieces they had unlocked, regardless of the franchise. Using an intuitive suite of building tools, players could create their own worlds, games, racetracks, obstacle courses, and more, essentially functioning like a digital box of Legos. The Toy Box was praised for its limitless creativity and the freedom it offered, letting players experiment, build, and share their creations online. With local split screen and online multiplayer, friends and families could collaborate in real time, making the experience even more engaging. People loved this sandbox mode, and it truly showed the potential of what Disney Infinity was capable of. If Avalanche could flesh it out and iron out some of the other issues surrounding the game, like the insane prices to acquire all of the figures and the compartmentalization of the various Disney franchises, Infinity had a chance to truly compete with Skylanders and become the face of the toys-to-life genre. But, well, Skylanders had a bit of an advantage, and it would be a hard fight to claim the #1 spot from Activision. Because Skylanders was massive. The original title, Skylanders Spyro's Adventure, released in 2011 and was a runaway hit, and its sequel, Skylanders Giants, which dropped in October of 2012, only amplified the craze. By the time Disney Infinity launched in August of 2013, Skylanders had already sold tens of millions of figures and had firmly established itself as the king of the toys-to-life genre. The success of both Skylanders 1 and 2 set a high bar, and their momentum meant that Disney Infinity was always playing catch-up, trying to carve out its own space in a market that Skylanders had already made its own. But hey, maybe they could pull it off. Following the success of Disney Infinity 1.0, Disney aggressively expanded the franchise with two major sequels, Disney Infinity 2.0 and Disney Infinity 3.0. Each iteration introduced new features, playsets, and crucially, a massive array of additional figures and content to purchase. Because the mouse, you must continue feeding the mouse. Disney Infinity 2.0, released in 2014, marked a dramatic shift for the series by focusing heavily on the Marvel Universe. This edition introduced a wave of new Marvel characters including Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Spider-Man, Captain America, Hawkeye, and many more, alongside new playsets themed around the Avengers, Spider-Man, and Guardians of the Galaxy. The Marvel Superhero Starter Pack included the game, Infinity Base, and 3 superhero figures, retailing at launch for around $75, while additional playsets such as the Guardians of the Galaxy and Spider-Man ones were sold separately, each typically priced at $35 and bundled with 2 figures. Individual figures were sold for about $14 each, and collecting all the new Marvel and Disney original figures, including the likes of Aladdin, Baymax, Donald Duck, Hero, Maleficent, Merida, Stitch, and Tinkerbell, could easily add hundreds of additional dollars onto the total cost. On top of this, 40 new Power Discs were released in blind packs, requiring even more spending for people looking to get the full Disney Infinity experience. This is where things start to get a bit crazy, because to buy all of this stuff, plus all of the Disney Infinity 1.0 stuff, it would run nearly $2,000, full-on gacha game levels of spending. This steep combined price tag was a major point of contention among fans and parents, as it made accessing the full Disney Infinity experience a significant and ongoing financial burden. The model of locking content behind physical purchases, the randomness of the blind power disc packs, and the need to buy new figures for each new playset led to widespread frustration and accusations that the franchise prioritized profit over player value. And as we all know, Disney would never do that. But let's take a step back. Did this new game actually do something new, or at least try to fix some of the problems in the previous game? Well, Disney Infinity 2.0 was backwards compatible, granting new skill trees to your characters from 1.0 and letting you access your previous creations as well. There were also improvements to the level editor, and finding quality levels to play was also much easier now. These changes were great and all, but, well, that was pretty much it. Characters were still locked to their playsets outside of the sandbox mode, and nothing was addressed to fix this issue whatsoever. So, it's time to ask, did Disney Infinity 2.0 really need to be a new $75 standalone game? Couldn't it have just been, a 2.0 update to the original game? It's okay, we can overlook this fact for the moment, but keep in mind, it will be important later on. By the end of the 2014 fiscal year, Disney Interactive posted its first ever annual profit, $116 million on $1.3 billion in revenue, a dramatic turnaround driven almost entirely by the Infinity franchise. Disney projected that the combined sales of Disney Infinity and Disney Infinity 2.0 would generate over $1 billion in revenue, underscoring the massive financial impact of the Toys to Life model. In terms of units, Disney even claimed that Infinity outsold its main competitor, Skylanders, during the 2014 holiday season, increasing its market share from 43% to 47% in the Toys to Life category. But, well, Activision claimed that this wasn't true and that Skylanders actually was 30% bigger than Disney Infinity. The Toys to Life wars had officially begun, and it would soon cause the downfall of the entire industry, because people were getting tired quickly. Skylanders was releasing new mainline games every single year. Giants in 2012, Swap Force in 2013, and crucially, Trap Team in 2014, the same year as Disney Infinity 2.0. Each new Skylanders game brought with it a fresh wave of physical figures, new portals, and expensive accessories, demanding that players and parents keep spending to stay current. The rapid-fire release of Skylanders titles meant that by the time Disney Infinity 2.0 hit shelves, families were already being asked to buy not one, but two or more expensive starter packs and dozens of figures each year if they wanted to keep up with both franchises. This created a situation where the cost of participation in the Toys to Life genre ballooned to hundreds, even thousands of dollars annually, and things were only just beginning. Disney Infinity 3.0 launched in late August of 2015. The headline edition was the full integration of the Star Wars universe, with playsets and figures from across the franchise, including both prequel and original trilogy content. The starter pack for this one included the game, the Infinity base, and 2 figures, alongside the Twilight of the Republic playset. And just like 1.0 and 2.0, quite a few additional Star Wars and other Disney and Pixar figures and playsets rolled out around this time as well. The Toy Box mode received some pretty big upgrades, like the new Toy Box expansion games that introduced pre-built, genre-spanning experiences like Toy Box Takeover, an action-adventure experience, and Toy Box Speedway, a kart racer, both of which allowed players to use any characters from across the Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars universes. The Toy Box itself also became more accessible, with automated builders that could quickly create environments, addressing previous complaints about the mode's complexity. The combat was expanded and a few other changes were made, but let's be real, it was the same thing for a third time and for $900 plus additional dollars to the hardcore fans who wanted to own everything that 3.0 had to offer. Thanks to the Star Wars money printing machine, for the first time, Disney Infinity overtook Skylanders as the top Toys to Life franchise, selling nearly 3 million copies and making another $200 million for Avalanche and Disney Interactive. But as Disney Infinity 3.0 and Skylanders Superchargers battled for dominance, yet another major competitor was about to enter the fray, LEGO Dimensions. Released in September of 2015, LEGO Dimensions brought together over 30 franchises, ranging from DC Comics to Doctor Who to The Simpsons, in a single Toys to Life game, leveraging the universal appeal of LEGO and the novelty of building physical models that interacted with the game. Critically, LEGO Dimensions was praised for its creativity and seamless blending of physical and digital play, but it was also the most expensive entry yet, with the full experience costing yet another few $100s in addition to the packs and figures. The arrival of LEGO Dimensions intensified the fatigue already setting in across the genre. Parents and players were now confronted with 3 major Toys to Life ecosystems, each demanding significant financial investment for full participation. For context, if a hardcore fan of the Toys to Life genre wanted to own just 20% of what was available on the market for Disney Infinity, Skylanders, and LEGO Dimensions, it would be a $1,700 plus investment. If someone wanted everything released for each of these games, it would be between $8,000 and $9,000, a number that I can't even begin to wrap my head around. And gamers were really starting to tire of all of this corporate consumerist competition. 2015's Skylanders Superchargers performed below Activision's expectations and was a critical flop for the series for the first time in its history due to a bunch of factors that I detailed in my video on the franchise. While the difference could, in theory, be written off as competition from the new LEGO franchise, it didn't bode well for the future of the genre, which was looking more and more precarious with every Toys to Life game that was released. And it wasn't just Skylanders, because Disney was starting to notice the decline too. Even though Disney Infinity 3.0 sold nearly 3 million copies and generated $200 million in revenue, the growth had stalled, and the series was no longer expanding at the pace that shareholders expected. By 2016, it was clear that the market was oversaturated and enthusiasm was waning. Disney responded by announcing that there would be no Disney Infinity 4.0 opting instead to update 3.0. They added some general improvements to the gameplay, accessibility, and new content, but these new additions were not enough to reverse the overall decline in sales and waning consumer interest for the series. Disney Infinity 4.0 was supposed to bring back that interest for the fans of Infinity, and it was aimed at being the most ambitious entry in the series. These innovations made 4.0 a highly anticipated release among fans, and this project being scrapped was a shock to everyone, especially considering how well the series had been selling to this point. Despite being in a great position to weather the storm of an oversaturated market, Disney decided to jump ship at the first sign of decline, just like they did with countless other projects, including all of the MMOs that we all loved from the early 2000s. Out of nowhere, Disney announced the end of Disney Infinity as a whole in May of 2016. No more games, no more updates, no more toys. The developer, Avalanche Software, a company of 300 employees at the time, was unceremoniously shut down in the aftermath. Not only that, but Disney went full scorched earth. They did away with all prospects of being a first-party developer and switched gears to licensing games instead. The series seemed as if it was truly dead alongside its developer. But I will say, there were a couple of pleasant surprises in store, because Warner Bros. Swept up Avalanche Software, saving the studio from complete oblivion. Their first new order of business? Making a Cars 3 game for Pixar and Disney, which was probably a bit awkward. The other bit of good news was that Disney Infinity got one heck of a swan song with Gold Edition versions of the game on Steam at the end of 2017. These games contain nearly all of the content from the figures and the playsets without needing to buy them, which is absolutely unprecedented for the Toys to Life genre. So, in good news, it is still playable today, and it's in a much better place than the other Toys to Life games that also inevitably died. But the spirit of the series as it was once presented is long gone, and Disney Infinity, as it was originally planned, is dead. To date, Avalanche Software is still alive and kicking under Warner Bros., and arguably better than ever considering that they were the ones responsible for developing Hogwarts Legacy. The studio's in a good position to keep making licensed games for Warner Bros., and we are all excited to see what they do next. And Disney, well, is still Disney. They've stuck to their plans of only licensing games, with titles such as Dreamlight Valley coming out since Disney Infinity. The game will continue until profits drop, I'm sure, and then they'll pull the plug, like they've done for pretty much every single gaming project they've ever worked on. But hey, Mickey Mouse is a hungry guy, and you gotta keep feeding him, or he's going to start sending cease and desist to anyone who wants to put a Disney character on their kid's gravestone. Did you ever play Disney Infinity? What version did you pick it up on? What did you like about it? What did Skylanders do better? Do you have any hope for the future of the Toys to Life genre? Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments, and drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more video essays like these. Don't forget to check out War Thunder on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile by using my link in the description to get a massive bonus pack that includes multiple premium vehicles and an exclusive vehicle decorator. This bonus is for new or returning players that haven't played in at least 6 months on PC and consoles. I will see you guys next time, and peace.